Well, hi there. Yes, I am in the car recording this in the only quiet space I could find at the moment. Um, I suppose if this were a movie, there'd be somebody with a clapboard and they'd go take two as I recorded the message a moment ago, but it for whatever reason, uh, failed to go through. What I, what I was, what I wanted to talk about is the fact that despite the fact that I've said before in other emails that we have to adjust to change, we have to accept it, um, and as much as we want to rally against it or contend against it, it's not. It doesn't make a great deal of sense to do that because generally speaking, you're not going to be successful. Much better to accept the change and bend with it. However, there are still some things that happen that are really bothersome, perhaps is the right word, and that's when things change and it's unexpected. And I think what falls into that category are late night phone calls that you're not expecting or early morning phone calls that you're not expecting. And we talked about one of them before, and that's when I got the call at night to come in the next morning to get a Neupogen shot to help control the white blood cells and to generate higher numbers, even if it's nudging the scale a little bit and correcting them unofficially or artificially. Um, this morning, the phone rang before 7 o'clock in the morning, which is early for us when you're not expecting a phone call that early. And it was from the City of Hope. After a while, you recognize the telephone numbers. And it was really disconcerting because it called to tell us that we did have an appointment for earlier today, but that the appointment somehow had gotten canceled. Nobody knows how. Nobody knows why. Nobody knows whatever the reason was. And that they had subsequently created a different appointment, and we needed to come in both to see the doctor and for the lab work. And this is significant lab work because it's the first lab work after the bone marrow biopsy, and also the first since the Neupogen shot. And as much as you choose not to worry about things like that, as much as you choose not to um, wonder about what the doctor's going to have to say or what that's all about or how it's going to impact you, you can't help yourself. And in many cases, you go to the darkest scenario first. Um, and it takes a great deal of energy and effort to prevent yourself from doing that, to stop yourself from doing that, to build a wall between you and whatever dark, um, disconcerting message might be waiting for you. Well, as it turns out, this morning's message wasn't dark. It wasn't foreboding. It wasn't awful. It was actually quite good. Um, I can honestly say I'm a chimera. If you're familiar with Brian's company Insomniac and you're familiar with the games that they built a game that was called Resistance: Fall of Man, in which one of the sinister, evil uh, characters were hybrids, part human, part alien. Uh, and in a way, I fit that definition because as of the blood work this morning, I am part me and I am part donor. Uh, they measured T cells and stem cells, and the T cells and stem cells are 100% donor. That means that the engraftment's working. Um, I'm really a lot more excited than I might seem as I try to work my way through this, you know, intellectually, because it's a lot to wrap your head around. To recognize that your DNA is different now. I am no longer me. I am me plus my donor. Uh, may even be my donor plus me at this point. I don't know. Find out soon enough. Um, and that the other cells that they measured so far are 99.87% donor. And to quote my doctor, those those results are remarkable. Truly is science working in conjunction with soul to to treat a really insidious disease that could have only had one outcome 5 years ago, and that wasn't a pleasant one. Um, and now, um, to paraphrase Ryan, because I'm not going to quote him exactly here, all I have to do is make sure I don't screw things up, um, and I take care of myself, and I don't wind up getting an infection or viral or bacterial infection of some kind. And that's, I mean, that in and of itself is a big deal. But realistically, most of my anxiety and most of my worry and most of the stress associated with that phone call in this morning was washed away with the doctor's visit. At which time I found out that I'm really doing a lot better than I thought I was, and that doing better is the game plan. And normally I would have waited till this evening to share that, but those of you who have been on this journey with me may know and understand just how significant that kind of a message really is, and how important it is um, when it comes to giving you the strength and the fortitude, the courage to continue on with the journey, despite the frustration that change may bring with it. And recognizing, of course, that change is a normal component, a normal fact of life in all of this. So the good news is it would seem that most of you are stuck with me for a while. And I truly love the idea of being stuck with all of you. I'm working towards that goal. Wanted to share the good news with everybody. I probably will need I have to go back to the doctor on Saturday, which is an unscheduled visit, but that's for lab work and blood work again to see where some changes he's making and has made in the prescription medications that I take are going to lead us. I may wind up needing platelets again. If I do, I hope some of you can see clear to help me out and help the City of Hope out by donating platelets and blood. The need is far greater than you can possibly know unless you've been involved in this from a different end for a while. Did you see my mask? My mask is so cool. I can't tell you. How's that? A Space Invaders mask. That's the only kind of mask you can have when your son's in the video game business. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my mask on after I say a formal and goodbye, and leave you for this afternoon and this evening with my wishes for you to stay well, take care, and thank you all for being on this journey with me. It really helps more than you could possibly know to know that I'm not walking this road alone.